Our keynote talk this afternoon, which I know you've all been waiting for, is with BetMGM's CEO, an in-depth conversation with one of the US industry's market leaders. Now, I want to welcome back to the stage Contessa, Brewer. I don't need any more intro to that, so welcome back. Anytime.
Amazing opportunity that I have with Adam Greenblatt. First of all, is that people should know this is the first time you and I have ever sat across from each other in a live forum. It's about time.
I agree.
Adam is the CEO of BetMGM. First of all, you have news that just came out today about Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
Let's get to it. When we talk about International Women's Day, about the fact that sports betting often leaves women in the outfield when it comes to not just being customers, but in their organization as well. Talk about Wheel of Fortune and how that has the potential to bring women into the BetMGM umbrella, into the fold.
Look, that's a great place to start. So the news for those who haven't seen it is that we've just launched, BetMGM has just launched the first game brand-led casino site in the US. Part of our go-to-market proposition, part of our strategy actually, is to really target discrete audiences. And you're absolutely right. The Wheel of Fortune brand is very much focused on the women's audience, the slot-centric audience. Some of the comments around live were interesting. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So we have our market proposition today is the BetMGM Casino, more affiliated with our BetMGM Sportsbook, more male-focused. Then we also have Borgata in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And now we're also supplementing that with the Wheel of Fortune brand.
Why segment the brands out of BetMGM at all? Like, why a Borgata brand?
It's the journey of the customer. It's the coherence and consistency with really top-of-the-funnel acquisition all the way into the product. One of the things that was less successful for us was our bingo product. Why? Because bingo as a product, again, is more female focused, but the journey into the bingo product was via the BetMGM brand. And so through our marketing, of course. And so what we wanted to do was really laser in on the journey from advertising into product, into gameplay, focused on our target market. And the brand consistency, the brand coherence allows us to do that.
Not the previous panel, but before that, when Chris Grove and Paris were sitting here, they were asked about what the vulnerability for FanDuel would be that competitors could take advantage of. And Chris and Paris thought that it might be in iGaming. But they've just announced that they've increased their market share to more than 20%. That came up in my interview last week with Flutter's CEO. Mm-hmm. Who do you think, as the market leader in iGaming, who are you eyeballing as the potential second, third place that could take over first place?
Yeah. So we eyeball everybody. And the reality is, to focus on one as your primary threat, I think you introduce blind spots. So there's some really good work being done by the group at Rush Street, in the area of product and engagement tools. They know their gaming business very well. And so FanDuel's also doing some interesting things. Likewise, in terms of games production, so is DraftKings. So there isn't we watch this one and that's the primary threat to us. No. It's who's doing interesting things around us that we can learn from, on the one hand, and on the other, it's how do we play our own game, and it's the combination.
Does every state offer a new opportunity to go in and be the dominant market leader, not just in iGaming, but in sports betting too?
Look, we're seeing that play out.
Yeah,
we're seeing that play out, and it's so the answer in the US context is yes. What we're also seeing, though, is as we get further on the maturity journey here in the US, that the tide from earlier states kind of rolls into the next state, right? So what it's doing is, as you know, is consolidating the top end among the top operators in an even more powerful way. And so as the players line up at the top end, that has an impact on new states rollout, impact in new states. Likewise, our position in iGaming, I think, is very helpful.
In Massachusetts, which will launch mobile this week, the MGM has a casino in Springfield, Massachusetts, and was able to offer the bricks and mortar retail sports betting a few weeks ago. The other news I think is so attention-getting is about Fenway Park, the home of the Red Sox. I can't think of a more iconic Massachusetts sports opportunity than the Big Green Monster at Fenway Park. Go ahead.
So this is, I feel so lucky in my role. Honestly, Contessa, I feel like I've, through the business, I've had like a history lesson in cultural icons and sports history, and to see BetMGM on the Green Monster, knowing what I now know about the history of the Red Sox and the Green Monster, and its role in sports, particularly in Massachusetts, right? It's a proud moment, and frankly, in what you'll see, and then maybe we'll get onto it later, what you'll also see is not only will the central feature be BetMGM, but we're also going to add a responsible gambling message on the Green Monster as part of how BetMGM shows up to the world. So I'm excited about that.
I mean, it really is culturally significant. How much did you have to pay for that?
Really?
I mean, I'm a journalist. Like, this is the opportunity that I have to make some news and like jump right off and go do a live shot for CNBC.
Look, this is one of the synergies, jokes aside, this is one of the synergies of being with MGM Resorts, because prior to sports betting becoming legal, MGM Resorts was the casino resorts partner of the Red Sox and was on the Green Monster. And so what we've done is we've now modified the arrangement such that we all have a role to play, and so economics are also shared. So it's good for everybody.
Yeah, it's really exciting. On the responsible gambling front, I understand there's a regulation in Massachusetts that if the audience is more than 75% underage, certain branding or certain signage is not allowed. Is there potentially going to be moments when you have to sidestep that? I mean, I can't imagine 75% of Fenway Park being filled with younger than 21-year-olds. Yeah. But is it top of mind for you?
So the regulations are certainly top of mind. Navigating, look, some of these requirements are just in the real world impossible to police.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's 71 or 77? Right? That's the reality. The gist, however, the spirit, however, that's something we can champion. Like, just don't go after college kids. End of. Don't go after underage. Protect underage. Make sure that you're targeting an audience or focusing on an audience that fits the criteria. And then will there be some leakage? Will you get it wrong sometimes? Maybe. But maybe at the margin.
The problem is that you say that. FanDuel has been very clear about not going after college kids and not sponsoring college athletes and not doing nil deals with college athletes. And yet, my sense, Amy Howe has said this, I can take the high road. All it takes is one competitor, not two, and the whole industry is challenged. How are you trying to navigate that with your competitors?
Yeah, look, this is the old prisoner's dilemma. The incentive to cheat, particularly when the addressable market is so valuable, the incentive to cheat is high. The issue, what we're doing, we've put out a 12-point principles document where ourselves, FanDuel, DraftKings, some of our shareholders have committed to. It's the first of its kind in the industry, and it's the intention is to create a North Star, a guiding light for the area of behavior around the topic of responsible gaming. And concepts of underage, concepts of set limits, use tools to allow you to set a budget, stick to your budget, set gameplay a framework to control your gameplay. Don't get carried away. Make educational materials available. All of these are enshrined in a document that we've all committed, the leaders have committed to. Your point about the incentive to cheat and some polluting for all, I think that's something that we as an industry have to be on top of, but we work with our regulators on that. It's not my job to police other licensees.
But the interesting thing, though, is that you bring a different perspective to the table than some of the U.S. operators because you have European experience. And one of your co-owners knows very well what can happen when the regulatory backlash hits the bottom line. Do you think that the U.S. industry is doing enough to forestall that backlash?
Until it's avoided, the answer is I don't know. Right? What I do know is that there is significant risk. What I do know is that left unattended, it will happen to us. The US will follow the path of so many other international markets. It will. What I do take comfort from, however, is that where the industry itself is at its relative infancy, the narrative around responsible gambling is that much more sophisticated. That's much more evolved. And it feels like it's going much more quickly. And, with FanDuel and DraftKings, we have really sympathetic leaders who are championing the cause. So I think we have a good chance of managing towards our TAM, not letting the challenges of responsible gambling, and they're real, impede the realization of the value.
I have news for all of you. CNBC is reporting today that the WWE, the World Wrestling Federation Entertainment, is talking to legislators in Colorado and Michigan, trying to get them to legalize betting on scripted matches. The argument, they say, is that they can work with EY, commonly known as Ernst & Young, who secures the Oscar ballots so that nobody knows how the matches are going to turn out. Would you be interested in taking betting on WWE?
NFW.
It provides an opportunity, though, like when we're talking about betting on other things. I get pinged with news releases about bet on the election, bet on the Oscars, bet on a lot of different things. Do you think it's a fun idea? Is it potentially lucrative to start branching out past sports and traditional gambling?
UK was very successful. The game shows and the talent shows and who was going to win. It betting around that created a lot of buzz because the shows had record audiences, so lots of interest in the underlying, which is a parallel with sports. You love the sport, you want to have a bet on the sport, it dials up your emotional connection with it. The same thing with the game shows. And what was also helpful around the game shows was the role of social media and the commentary around it. And so is it interesting? Is it exciting? Yes, at the moment, it's just not part of the catalog that's in most states.
And for you, looking forward, is that the social aspect of even sports betting an opportunity? I mean, could you foresee making it possible for a group of friends to get together and follow under the BetMGM app the action and bet against each other and maybe where you're not the house, but you're taking a fee?
So a couple of points there. So it was interesting in the previous commentary you put out, well, I can do that on Twitter. I can chat on Twitter. My firm belief is we as an industry should focus on the things that we can, the easier wins, the more proximate wins. And for me, what that means is introducing a new behavior is easier than requiring someone to change existing behavior. Oh. So if I'm on Twitter anyway, and that's my forum, then I would rather bet with BetMGM or Wheel of Fortune or Borgata Casino and have your conversation on Twitter. If that is your forum, if that's your chosen medium. I'm focusing on the doing as best we can in our core product, rather than create a social ecosystem around the product. I think there is more value in offering bettors and gamers the best betting and gaming experience first, and allowing them to engage using other methods.
There's a lot of B2C entrepreneurs and founders here at the conference. I've been hearing some concern over this insistent focus from the big operators on bringing all the tech in-house. Is there still room for independent contractors in your business?
It's a really important question, I think. I was asked an analogy, I was asked advice for someone entering, to answer your question, advice for someone entering this sector. And I said, be thoughtful about where you put yourself. Why? Now, this is the answer. Because I do think what we are going to see is continued concentration at the top end. And what that means is the long tail of brands, I think, will remain, unfortunately, I don't express a view, but will remain subscale to be viable. And at some point, rational capital behind those players says, you know what? It was a great idea, we gave it our best shot, and enough's enough, right? So if you're a B2B supplier to the industry, who are your customers, right? If the long tail is subscale and probably going to fall away, then really you have a handful of customers at the top. And so to your question, if there is obsession is too far, but if there is a bias towards in-housing technology, and there is, because of the control that it enables, the speed to market, navigating the regulatory landscape by yourself, let alone orchestrating and choreographing a concerted effort with third parties, it's hard stuff, right? So if all of the tech is coming in-house and the long tail is falling away, where do you position yourself? You position yourself as being an add-on to those leaders. A bite-sized acquisition, either it's an engagement tool or some kind of conversion technology or something that one of FanDuel or DraftKings or ourselves or Caesars perhaps have more to do, look at and go, you know what, this is a net add to my internal ecosystem and your exit is there. But I think to build a strategy around servicing the long tail will be very challenging.
I want to end on a question that has been bugging me for a long time. You have two bosses. You've got MGM, which brings you an amazing bricks and mortar reward system and a really strong US casino brand. You have Entain, which brings you a wealth of European know-how, and what I hear is the tech platform that really fuels the BetMGM platform. Conventional wisdom and the Bible say no man can serve two masters. How are you navigating that?
Law unto myself. It's hard. It's hard. Fortunately, we get different things from both. So as we face into Entain, it's really about technology, some trading services. As we face into MGM Resort, it's about brand. I mean, we haven't talked about that, but in terms of fueling our casino business, the MGM brand is amazing. Brand, accessing their player base, creating omni-channel journeys, and activating their physical properties for the benefit of both them and us. One of the things we've done recently, in fact last week, was launch something called MGM Riches with one of the B2B suppliers, Every. So we've got physical slot machines on MGM's floors, which are the reverse of the logic that we've seen in so many other countries in the world, which is, in the other countries, it's you take a land-based slot game and you stick it online. We've done the other way. We've taken one of our most successful online slot games and put it onto the floor in MGM Resorts. Why? Because the next visit to an MGM resorts property, and the playing of that game is good for BetMGM and it's good for MGM Resorts. It builds brand loyalty and it extends lifetime value of players. So,
you're a New Yorker.
I am.
Would you bet on mobile gaming, iGaming, coming to New York in the next couple years?
Don't express a view on time, do express a view on outcome. Yes, 2 years is, things move slowly.
Adam Greenblatt, I'm glad to finally have the chance to sit with you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.